Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi LIVENODING. Today we're going to take a look at something quite interesting. It's another add-on that's based on nodes and procedural modeling. It's called PC Procedural Generation Modeling, and I just call it PGM or something. So it's developed by Punya Aachman, and then you can have a look at the thread at Blender Artist. This is really my first look at it. I haven't really played around with it, but it's pretty powerful. And I think compared to Sverchok, this one is kind of a little bit more higher level. But it's really interesting. Basically, so you go to GitHub and you just download the zip. And currently this works only for Blender 2.79. I think the state of this add-on is kind of alpha, but it's still pretty cool. So let's just jump into it. It should be under node editor, and that's the one. So it's a PCG node 3. I'll delete everything in the scene. I'm gonna create a new node, and then as usual, you end up with a lot of nodes that you kind of need to guess how they work. But here we can see input and we can see output, and as usual, we can generate procedural mesh. The output, I guess I'll just use this, and this one is white, this one is red, but I just can plug it and refresh the mesh. So the refresh the mesh, that's the only manual thing. But you will see that at this stage, the node workflow is you still have to do manual refresh sometimes. So, but yeah, let's have a look. So the radius as usual, and we have this location, rotations. It doesn't have scale, but still pretty cool. So if you rotate it here, it actually gives you these transformations. Let's zero them out. Things might change from here, but there's a print output debug, but I'm not gonna use that. Refresh the mesh. Okay, nothing much. I'm just gonna save it. PCG 001. So the way you look at this, I think what's really cool with the PCG is actually selection and conversion. So with conversion, this thing allows you to jump into mesh mode and component mode very quickly. So let's have a look at the node. I think this is the one that's kind of, it makes sense. So currently it's in the mesh mode. You can jump into the component mode and component mode back into mesh mode. And here you can select and deselect. You can deselect all first. So it's just like when you are you have an object here, and you hit tab and you go to edit mode and you make changes. That's exactly what it is. So in a way, this is pretty cool. It's how I imagine a node workflow in Blender should be. You are almost always in the object level. Whatever happens underneath happens using nodes. So this is kind of nice. Let's try to do like a random selections. Select random. So select random it's always come out like this, and you hit that and you can see more options. So at the moment we don't have many face, we don't have many polygon face, but you can see it's selecting randomly. So that's nice, right? Once you made selections, you can do whatever to the component, and things like extrude faces, you know the drill. Decimate is the one that's kind of cool. There's also poke, of course. Maybe you can try poke. poke and offset. See, now we are poking based on the selections. Selection is random, and let's go back. Yeah, it is actually working. So select random, randomize the seed. So that's one example. But this cube, I think this cube is not completely, it's not how I imagine the cube should be. It should have like a way to subdivide it, but I will try to subdivide. Subdivision surface modifier. This is just like the modifier. So now we are still on the object mode, but we can do subdivisions. So that's probably one way to do it. This thing is active. Now I'm gonna switch here, and now this guy is active. We can select random, randomize the seed, and then now we jump into the poke, make changes to the poke. It's actually poking. Yeah, this one is pretty powerful, as you can see. That's basically poke, but then again you can subdivide, and then you go enter into this guy, and then there is another one, component level subdivisions. That's also very useful. So you make selections in component mode, select random, and then you, instead of poking, you want to randomize. So I'm not gonna delete the poke, so that's one. I can just replace it. Now I try subdividing it. Now you can see we have this. It's subdividing, and then on top of this you can play around with the fractal, of course. Smoothness. What is this? Quad or triangle mode. Keep it quad for now. Along the normal. Randomize the seed of the fractal. So we have this. This is also already pretty interesting. Normally you cannot do this so easily. So now we have these objects, and then we can always randomize the seed. You see it's modifying the components. Fractal. Select random selection. Okay, and we can subdivide more. It's too much, but you get the drill. On top of these subdivisions, we also have fractal. Oops, cannot. Not fractal. It's a decimate modifier. We have decimate and we have decimate modifier. Which one do you prefer? Let's go with this decimate modifier on the component. Now it's reducing the number, but in the component mode, and then now we end up with this. So we start with a cube. We have this subdivision modifier that we can increase, and then it's still randomly selecting our cube. And we have this now. Maybe if I use the displace modifier, oh, okay, no, that's not so great. Subdivide. Okay, that's subdividing on the mesh itself, and then but subdivide and decimate will give you kind of a organic looking result. There's a symmetry option here. Don't fractal. If we can, then we still have the selection. Maybe we can extrude. So that's also one kind of obvious. Extrude faces, edges, vertices, region maybe, and extrude repeat may be interesting. For now, just extrude region, extrude it in, extrude out, whatever. Still pretty interesting. And once you're done, I think you just refresh the mesh and you get the result. Yeah, so I think that's how I think you use this add-on. I'm kind of guessing. I have to look at the tutorial by what's his name? Punya Aachman. There's also this output and mesh draw. This is also pretty useful, and you can display the name, wire, X-ray, etc. Bounding box. That's handy. And if you like this mesh, duplicate it, do whatever. And the cool thing at this current, even at this current stage, it has the usual, input, transform. Let's have a look. Resize, modifier. Almost all modifier that's over here normally works on the object level. I think this is the coolest part. Change components. You can switch from point to edge to face selections. This is really almost like Houdini. Oh, there's also dissolve. That's really cool. Components level operators. If you're using Sverchok also have some of this, but it's not as clear cut as this. I think this one slightly more simpler somehow. Sverchok should actually implement it this way, but I think the way it's Sverchok is different because it's it really goes into the low level and then it's a little bit more complex. This one kind of with your setup, it seems to be running the procedure to do all the component goes into the component levels and goes up to the object mode, and so in a way that's maybe good for one thing, not so good for another thing. I still like both. I have Sverchok here all the time, and I made a lot of video about Sverchok, but in this case I think it's easier to do modeling. Depends on how you look at it. Sverchok supposed to be is more like a grasshopper for Rhino. This is also node based. I don't have internet, but yeah, this is a really good, really great add-on, and I'll have a look at the thread and then study it a little bit more. But I think it can be pretty powerful for some modeling. Okay, so this is the first look into the procedural generated ProcGen modeling tool. Hopefully I'm probably gonna take a look further into this and try to make something useful. But yeah, hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.